Lisa, I'm so excited to get to hang out with you. Thanks for being here.
Oh, you know what, Christy? As soon as my team said, hey, Christy wants to hang out with you, I'm like, yes, let's make this happen.
This is so fun. So you have a new devotional out called Strong, which I was just telling you even before we went live. I was like, gosh, I just love the titles of all of your books and devos and everything. So I'm like, yes, like girls with swords and strong and like we can do this. So I want to today, I'm so excited to dive into this particular issue with you.
Yeah.
Because we've never talked about this personally, like offline when we text or talk in person, but you have written a lot on health and nutrition and wellness and body image, and that can be a really hard subject to talk about for women. So I'd love to hear from you just as we kick it off, like why is this something you wanted to lean into and write about?
Well, I mean, it actually really controls way more than people understand. You know, I had an eating disorder, Christy, from the time I was 15 until the time I was 22 years of age. And becoming a Christian did not fix that. Yeah. Matter of fact, I thought there was more guilt compounded on it. Like, oh, I'm a Christian now. I shouldn't care about my weight. I shouldn't care about my food. I shouldn't care. And I remember this moment in time because I had bought a wedding gown by faith, again, because I'm turning 60. So this was something we did. And I outgrew it. I outgrew my wedding gown. I went to go try it on with a slip. They said, you must have somebody else's wedding gown. This thing will not close. It was this far in the back. I came home. I started to cry. I was like, God, I became a Christian. I gave up getting drunk for you. And now I'm fat. Like I had done him some big favor. And I cried. I felt sorry for myself. I thought about how mad my Sicilian dad was going to be that I had outgrown my wedding gown that he had paid for. And I heard in the midst of my sobbing and crying, I heard, Lisa, your weight is an idol to you. And I thought, what idol? What's an idol? And he said, it's what you draw your strength from and you give your strength to. Wow. And he said, when you're thin, you think you're worthy of love. When you're thin, you think you're successful. When you're thin, you actually will share me. But when you are overweight, you become weighted down. And he said, I do not want you skinny and weak. I want you strong and free. And I was like, okay, I have done everything I know to do, from, starving myself to binge eating. I don't know how to be normal. And he said, I want you to stop dieting. He said, a diet changes the way you look. He said, I want you to go on a 3-day fast because a fast will change the way you see. And he said, it's time for you to change the way you see everything. And he said, anything that controls you or conceals the real you or confines the real you, he said, is important to me. And so he said, I'm the one that made you. And he said, I'm the one that knows what you should weigh, not shape, not vogue, not glamour. And Christy, that was like, what? Like God's gonna tell me what I should weigh? And so I remember I was like, okay, tell me. And I was like scared he was gonna give me this, whatever, I don't know what I thought, enormous weight. And so he gave me a number. And I have to be honest with you, I'd never weighed it. I'd been more than it. I'd been less than it. I'd never landed there. I wrote it on a piece of paper, stuck it in my Bible. And he said, stop weighing yourself. Stop being crazy with exercise. He said, Sarah was not beautiful because she ran aerobics in the desert. She was beautiful because she gave way. She would refuse to give way to fear. So he said, I want you to walk. Don't run. Because see, running isn't wrong. I know you're a runner, but I was punitive. I wasn't constructive. Yeah. I wasn't making myself strong. I wasn't loving my body. I was punishing it. I was hating it. I was trying to control it. And so I remember just walking and learning to eat until I was satisfied, not until I was uncomfortable. Learning to eat because food is a gift from God. It's something I can celebrate, but it isn't something that can master me. And so I remember walking day by day through that journey. And I don't remember how many weeks it was. I want to say it was 3.5, 4 weeks. But on my wedding day, I heard the Holy Spirit say, you can weigh yourself. And I climbed up into the attic where I hid the scales and I pulled them down and I got on it and I weighed that exact weight. And Christy, that has been kind of my default weight for 38 years.
This is unbelievable to me, not only from your testimony of how there's so many things I want to dig into that you said. First of all, I love that in your story, you just shine such a light on the fact that God cares. God cares not only about how you look, how you feel, how you view yourself, this idol, how your interaction with food. I think sometimes we think like, I've got a relationship with God and then I have a relationship with food and my body, and these are separate, unconnected. And you're going like, oh no, that very thing that you think he doesn't care about, he cares deeply about and wants to heal you there. So that right there is just incredible. The other thing I think is really interesting that you said is, for you realized it was an idol. But I bet there are people that are watching the video of this or listening to you that know you and think like, how could you ever worry about weight or struggle with body image when you're beautiful, when you're thin, when you're fit? And I think we have this myth in our head, a lot of women do, that if I was just this size, I would be okay, feel okay, I would never struggle again. It's almost like money, right? Like if I could just get to this amount of money, I would just put my feet up and never worry again. And the finish line always moves with money, with finance, with your body image. So talk to us a little bit about this, because I think this struggle is a struggle that almost every woman struggles with, regardless of your size. And so this is something we have to understand and battle, regardless of your weight, regardless of your gene size.
Yeah, first of all, I love how you captured what I was saying. An idol will never be satisfied. No effort you ever give it will ever be enough. And that's what happened for me. I said, okay, I weigh this now. Oh, nope, there's a person over there, they're thinner. You need to get, and that whole thing of postponing your life until you're a certain size or your bank account is a certain size has knocked so many women out of enjoying their life now. And there is something that happens when you hate your body. You don't eat in a way that is nurturing. Your body takes those signals from your brain. And, and I would love to say, you and I got to do a little bit of life together. It's crazy. It's like you're here, there, any kind of semblance of normal exercise routine, forget it. It's called running through airports. It's called being on a stage. It's called sleeping in different places. But I decided that I could actually trust God with my body. And there is a distortion in Christianity that teaches you and I that our bodies are bad, that our bodies are things to be controlled. And yet when you look at Psalm 139, you see this expression of wonder when it comes to the human body. When David says, I am fearfully and I am wonderfully made, how great are your works? We're supposed to look at ourselves and be in wonder. You just had this beautiful little girl, and for the first time, you're seeing a reflection of Christy Young, of this beautiful little girl, of the potential. And what's sad for me is, and again, I feel like when God set me free, he set me completely free. But what's so sad for me is I didn't enjoy my body as much as I could have. And I know that sounds silly. I'll give you an example. I was speaking at a conference, and a beautiful woman from Great Britain was laying out by the pool, and my body is kind of straight. I'm very athletic built, kind of straight. And she was pear-shaped, and she looked at me and she said, oh, I wish I had a body like that. And I said, really? And she said, I just hate my thighs. And I said, what does your husband say about your thighs? And he said, I wish you enjoyed my thighs I wish you enjoyed your thighs as much as I enjoy your thighs. And I'm like, okay, so your husband loves your package. You need to love your package. And I saw a picture of myself not long ago. I was 34. I was tired. I just had my third child. and we had just come from Guam, where one of my boys on the airplane had released the air mask for our row, which like I thought they were going to throw us off the plane. And so I've got a headband on. I'm not smiling. I've got my kids. I remember being mad that somebody had taken a picture of me. And I look at that picture of my 34 Lisa, and I wish I could just say, hey, baby girl, come with me. Put my arm around her and say, you need to enjoy that body. That body is the best body you're ever going to have. It's 34. Enjoy it. Do all these amazing things with it. Go skiing more. Go surfing more. Run. Do whatever you want, but enjoy it. Enjoy it. Now, I wasn't worried about my weight, but I wasn't enjoying my body. I'm 60. My husband's 61. We enjoy our bodies more now than we did at 30 and 31. And that's, I'm not trying to make people uncomfortable. The truth is that God made our bodies to serve us and to be enjoyed, And so I hate it that women are constantly comparing with one another. They are always feeling less than, and they're not enjoying. Because if you don't enjoy, if you don't laugh, then you end up serving your enemies. You know, it's one of those scriptures, and my husband would tell you exactly what it is, but it says, because you didn't serve your God with joy and gladness, you will serve your enemies. And I don't think God's putting us under enemies, but I think our mind puts us in captivity. And God is saying, say what I say about you.
Yeah.
You're altogether lovely. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. If you want to lose weight, okay, but don't compromise yourself. Gain strength. Enjoy yourself on that journey. Be realistic. Eat clean. Laugh. Have fun things every once in a while, but don't do the never or the always thing, because it always fails.
Yeah. I love how you said we're under the kind of, can't remember how you said it, but under our mind is where we so kind of are captive there. And that's why we're trying to help people, you know, starting with your spirit, everything starts with God, then working on your mind and then working on your body. And I think it's so hard because it's just like you said, Lisa, I have looked at pictures of myself from high school and college when I remember thinking, I am fat, I've got love handles, I don't look good in a bikini, all of my friends are, all those things you think. And I look back and I'm like, girl, you were cute. Why didn't you know it? Why didn't you know it? And why didn't you feel it? But it's like the 60-year-old version of me is going to look back at me today. And the fact that the opportunity we have to enjoy ourselves today at any size, at any age is right there in front of us. But so many of us miss that because we have this different story. You know, Lisa, I've looked at pictures before and I look really good in that picture and I'm shocked because I'm like, that doesn't look like what I felt like. I felt like I was uncomfortable or people were looking at this or that or whatever. And it's just so interesting how strong our thoughts about ourselves. So I want to ask you a question. This is, I'm excited to hear your perspective because I think it's this balance, like a lot of things, of we don't want to make this an idol. Right. Not a weight, not a jean size, not a bikini, not anything that it's like, this is where I'm giving my strength. I love how you said that, giving my strength to, or get our strength from. And we want to steward our body well. We don't want to say, well, I'm just not even gonna, like there's a great opportunity also to do things that make us stronger, that drink more water, to move it, to do things like surfing that make us enjoy it, where we're proud of it. Like, oh my, I just hiked that mountain. That's amazing. Like where you feel great about this body that you have. So kind of walk us through what that balance looks like, where it's a healthy stewardship, but not an obsession and an idol.
Well, I mean, I think it's that whole things, all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. And so I think it's actually really important. We're doing something called Summer of Strong, because I think that we've all been sitting too much. We're just sitting. And so I said, okay, who wants to go with me from fluff to buff? And it's all about pivots. It's all about small steps that you can take consistently. And so if I can do small things consistently, then I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to celebrate growth. I'm not going to let guilt overwhelm me. And so anytime you're seeing guilt, anytime you feel like you're failing every single day, you got to say something's out of order.
Yeah.
Something's out of order. I'm keeping a list, a running record of all of my failures. And that's not what God does.
That's right.
God says that his mercy, his grace, his goodness, his love follows us. His mercy is new every morning. Hallelujah. That I remind myself of that as I'm making espresso every morning.
Yeah.
It was like a new mercy this morning. Espresso is like the liquid mercy of God in my life. But we have to say, okay, so espresso is a good thing. Sex is a good thing. Food is a good thing. Laughter is a good thing. But nothing is good if that's everything. And so it has to be in proportions, that there's a time to weep, a time to laugh, time to plant. And I think with our lives, we have to think about the different ends of that tension. So if somebody is just like, I'm going to only work out, and then they're ignoring their kids, or they're ignoring their husbands, or they're hiding from their friends until they get to their goal weight or their goal size, that's not an imbalance.
Yeah.
That's going to be out of balance. And so again, having a idol in our life means that it is the only thing we see.
Yeah.
So if that person, the only thing they see is a reflection in the mirror, if it is a size on their, pants, if it is a number on the scale, then they need to ask God to do a reset on their vision. And, I don't even own scales because I just wasn't going to have a setup of a constant measure and then celebrate what is. Like you had a baby 8 months ago. I have never felt more powerful than when I gave birth to children. I remember thinking, my body is amazing. My body it carried a life. It brought forth a life. I could nurse my children. My body travels with me. My body takes care of me. So I'm going to love and respect my body. I'm not going to punish it. I'm not going to let it control me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing. I think if you're thankful, I don't know, for me, whenever I'm grateful, things just get in balance.
Yes, I love that. And it's so easy to focus on the one thing we don't like when we have so many things to be grateful for that our body can do. But we don't talk about that. We talk about the loose skin, the wrinkles, the dimples, the whatever. And there's a million things that our body can do that are brilliant and amazing and beautiful and strong. Like you said, I love how you said earlier, you said, I can trust God with my body. And that right there, I think that's just going to speak to some people. It spoke to me of like, this isn't, like you said in the church, this isn't this thing I have to control and punish and even checking the voice in our head of how we're talking to our body, because God doesn't talk to us that way. We can immediately tell that that's not the voice of the truth because it doesn't talk to us that way. The list of flaws, the list of, failures, like you said. Lisa, this is one of those things where I think can be really difficult and uncomfortable to talk about. So a lot of people don't, but then they live with the consequences of the voice in their head and all those things that weigh them down. So I just love that you can shine such a light on something that's difficult to talk about. And like you said, you've written about this for years, but you actually have a new devotional called, I love the title, Strong. Tell me about this, because it's so beautiful, the mint green. I'm so excited to read it. Tell me a little bit about, you've written a ton in the last 20 years. Why did you decide to write this one? Why is it strong? Why did you want to write a devotional on this?
So this is an embarrassing story.
I'm ready for it.
So actually, the publisher called me. They actually called my agent and they said, we think Lisa should write a devotional and call it Strong. And I said, no, y'all, I don't have time for that. I don't know if I'm the person. And they said, Lioness Arising, Girls with Swords.
Yeah.
Like a girl. Like, what do you mean you're not the person? I said, okay. And they said, Lisa, it's going to be really easy. You can write a devotion on every flight. It'll just be easy. You'll do this in your sleep. Lies. It was not easy. It was a lot of work. I wasn't used to starting and stopping. But here was the thing that before I even wrote the devotional, I saw the need. So I kind of agreed under protest, but I had a young girl call me and she'd just come out of a meeting with some people. And the message that they were saying to her was she was too confident. She was too excited. She was too ambitious. She was too. And, we've all heard that before, but out of my spirit, Christy, I just said to her, you know what? Strong is not wrong. And she was like, you're right. And if we look up the definitions of strong, there is not one single negative word associated with the word strong. There are things like robust, fierce, passionate, fervent, magnificent, concentrated. But you look at the opposites of strong, they are things like dim, insipid, weak, fainting, uninvolved, uncaring. And so we don't want to be those people. Right. And so I wrote it under protest. I had no idea it would launch during COVID.
Sure.
But you know what? God. And here's the thing. If any of us are still imagining that we get our strength from our job, or from our ability to socially interact, whatever. It's all been knocked out of the way. We all said 2020, year of vision. God's like, absolutely, dealing with all those idols, shaking you guys to wake you up and remind you that you have a strength that no one can ever take from you. And we are finding our strength in God. I just love David. Psalm 18:1. He says, I love you, Lord, my strength. My strength. He's our personal strength. When I am afraid, I will trust in you. He is our source. And so it was so fun that this book I didn't want to write, that I even actually, when I read it out loud at Focus in January, I said, this is too fierce. This book.
I can never imagine you saying that, first of all. I'm like, what qualifies for Lisa Bevere as too fierce? Does that exist?
I think because I wrote each little thing separately,
Sure.
I had never gone through 90 of them in a row. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so intense. And John said, well, you wrote a book called Strong. What did you think it was going to be like? It's so strong. But here's the things. There are things that compromise our ability to connect with our strength. Our weight, it creates an inability to connect with our strength. Our unhealthy food things, inability. Our relational dynamics when we're afraid to have the hard conversation. Our inability to be humble. See, it is stronger to be humble than it is to defend a position. Yeah. Because I'm actually saying, okay, I'm going to admit that maybe I'm wrong. Today, I talked to my team and I said, I want you to put a thing, because I've had strong is not wrong, and then I've had wrong is not strong. So punishing people, being mean, being aggressive, that's not strong, that's harsh, that's not strong. Right. It takes more strength to lift people and set them free than it does to hold them down. And so I love that you're bringing truth to women that is going to lift them. I love that you're pulling them out of a place of isolation where they're thinking, wait, other people have had these same kind of accusations and limitations. Absolutely. I love that you're bringing it to the light so that the light can heal a weak place and make it strong. So thank you, Christy, for inviting me along.
You are just,
Didn't mean to rhyme.
You have been such a gift to me personally, even since we met on the Propel tour. But I'm like, I just feel like we're such kindred spirits. We were talking about that even offline. I'm like, I've told, our team, we're so excited you're going to be speaking at Business Boutique this year. But I'm like, when Lisa takes the stage, it's like arms are flying, points are happening. Like you walk out of that room, you're like, I'm going to go do something. And you're the strength of you, which is so natural for you. I'm so excited you wrote about it because you're actually able to see how this is something we all have and can tap into because we have the same source. So you're just amazing. Can you tell our listeners before we leave where they can find you and follow you and get a copy of your new devotional?
Well, I find the nicest place is Instagram.
Okay,
so
great.
They can go to Lisa Bevere and it's got a blue check. If they're like, no, I want to talk to mean people, they can go to Facebook or Twitter. I also have a lisabevere.org. We're nice there as well. But yeah, we love connecting with people through Instagram. I think that's that place where they can not only hear about you, but they can actually see you. But it's been an incredible privilege to be with you. And I am excited to see you this fall.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Lisa. Thanks for hanging out.